last week it was my birthday, and I turned 60. I don't feel it. No, of course, I'm a year older, but no, I feel no different now than when I was in high school, just to be honest. Somebody said maybe another 10 years I'll start feeling it. Maybe, maybe not. But does it feel like I've lived 6 decades? No, it don't. It don't feel. Like I just said, I don't feel it. But I feel a little different now than when I was 59. A week ago. I mean, but anyway, somebody asked me the other day, which decade did I enjoy living more? The 1970s or the 80s? It's kind of a good question. Which decade did I... Notice I don't say 90s and I don't say 2000. Obviously, times are getting a little worse and worse. So I'm basing this on the better decade. And but which did I enjoy more, the 70s or 80s? I'm going to have to say about equal. But if I had to choose a winner, which decade would be the winner? This one in second place is still 99%. But if I had to choose which decade, I'd have to say the 80s. And why? That's when entertainment got just a little easier. My uncle bought, when the VCR come out, in case you don't know what a VCR is, it's what we call a DVD player today. Anyway, he wanted me to go to Sears with him, 1986. So me and him go to Sears, and he gave around $450, and then they talked him into insurance. Now, back then, VCRs had 1 million parts in them. That was a drawback to them. They had if you take the cover off, the housing, or to take the lid off, you'd see 1 million parts. And obviously, if that breaks down, labor would cost you an arm and a leg. So the Sears salesman talked him into insurance. I figured like 3 or 4 years, labor, $149, and you're basically paying for nothing, because the odds of it breaking down would be pretty rare even back then. But he went for the insurance, As we walked out of Sears, me and him, he's holding the receipt. The receipt shows 600 and what was it? I'm trying to remember. It was. I definitely remember the 600. Oh yeah, I think it was 6 with a tax and all around. It's I don't know, 640. I think we bought some accessories, with the VCR, raised the price, but it's right around $640. And he looks at me as we're walking through the parking lot, going to the car. He said, "You think it's worth it?" I said, "I hope." He said, "Will you do me a favor?" I said, "What's that?" He was my uncle by marriage. Real nice guy. Howard. And he says, "Will you please," I lived with him at that time. He said, "Will you please rent a lot of movies? And to make it useful, and he will too." Now, I worked the third shift. I worked the all-night shift. And my aunt and him, they worked a day shift. So I had the house. I didn't leave for work till about 5 o'clock. About the time they come in, I was leaving for work. I did not like working night shift, but I did. But the advantage, the gain I had there, I had the VCR all to myself, because they was both working. I had the VCR at the house. I had the VCR at the house to myself all day long. And after work, I would stop and rent about $10 of movie rentals a week. So I would wake up in the morning, grab me a bowl of cereal or fry me some eggs. And we had the VCR on wheels. So we could easily roll it from the living room to my bedroom. So that's what it did. I'd fry me some eggs or cereal, and I would roll the VCR into my bedroom, put in some movies, and watch movies all day. Oh, God. So yeah, I would have to say the 80s is the winner. It's close. I mean, I love the 70s growing up. It's 99% the 70s, but the winner, I would have to say, would be the 80s. 1980s, yeah. 86, to be more specific. So, before that, entertainment was hard. 3 channels on TV. Entertainment was very hard to come by. And the only one in our family that had satellite TV was my Uncle Pete. I don't know if anybody in the family that had cable was new. Everybody I know was still on a regular TV with the antenna, 3 channels. So right around that, well, it wouldn't right around, it was 1986, because that's when I moved in with them. And every day after work, I'd drive in or pull into the movie rental. Rent a bunch of them, I see they was due in 24 hours, so I would buy 2 or 3. I mean, it was a total of about $10 a week. And it just, it was a lot of money back then. I mean, $10 in 1986 was a lot of money, folks. But you gotta understand, the VCR was exciting. New technology. I grew up on 3 channels. I grew up on poor entertainment. Now, I'm not saying poor. I mean, I enjoyed the shows as a kid when I was growing up, but we only had 3. We had no way to get entertainment when I was growing up. That was a drawback to the 70s. Then all of a sudden, 1986 comes around, and my uncle buys a VCR. And I used it every day. When I would wake up, automatic. I didn't turn no TV on. I plugged in the VCR and watched movies all day, until I took a shower, and I watched movies until I went to work again. Those were the days.